Well, William Hague, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, is at Westminster for us, as are members of the Foreign Office and the Defence Ministry, Ministry of Defence, who've just been voting, but no minister wanted to take part in our debate. He does join us, however. We're also joined by the Labour Chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, Mike Gapes. Mr Gapes, when you hear the story of Agent Curveball, or you hear Colonel Wilkinson there, Colin Powell's Chief of Staff, talking about a hoax being perpetrated on the American people and the world, the case for an inquiry is unanswerable, isn't it?
There is a case for an inquiry. The debate today was about what kind of inquiry, how wide an inquiry. My own point of view in the debate was that we need to go back looking at the relationship between the UK and Iraq, not just over the period 2002, 3, 4, which seems to be in the motion, but actually over 30 years, including the period under the Conservative government when they were arming Saddam.
William Hague, why do you think you need an inquiry when you voted for the war? Presumably you know what you voted for.
I think actually it's particularly important that those of us who voted for the invasion of Iraq put the case for an inquiry, just as, of course, as you just saw in some of the coverage of the debate, those who were always against the invasion are for an inquiry, because I think we all have to recognise that there are things to learn, that for those of us who are in favour of it, we can't possibly say that everything has gone to plan. And there are the issues that have just been raised, some of them just raised in the film that you have shown, which of course need proper examination and inquiry, and the time for that really has come. Otherwise, we will be looking at events so many years ago that everybody's memories will have faded and their files will have disappeared.
Mike Gapes, we're told that this is because troops are still on active service in Iraq. Is there any evidence at all that the military have said to you or to the government, we do not want to have an inquiry now?
No, and I think ministers made it clear that they take the view on the basis of the not just the troops on the ground, but also the impact on the government as a whole at this time.
Impact on the government?
Well, that was what was said by ministers.
Embarrassment to the government?
No, not a question of embarrassment in terms of priorities and diversion from the main task, which is to support the Iraqi people and their government at this time. Our troops in Basra are still doing an important job in terms of training, in terms of potential intervention force if it's needed, and also with regard to logistic and other support.
Listen to that. What's the answer?
Well, this is the government's argument, basically that they are too busy to have an inquiry. Of course, the troops in Basra are still doing an important job, but an inquiry is not going to be summoning the troops who are in Basra today and interrupting their duties. We have a government that is having reviews of all sorts of things at the moment, of casinos, of 24-hour drinking, of the role of the military and so on. But when you ask them to have a review or an inquiry of the main thing that has happened in the last decade affecting this country and our allies, well, then they're too busy and it would be too much of a distraction from their duties. That is the quality of the argument that we've had, and that is why, as you said, Jeremy, a few moments ago, the case for an inquiry is now unanswerable.
But isn't the likelihood, in the light of the two inquiries we've already had into various aspects of the Iraq war, that we shall get something which is carried out which actually turns out very little?
No, I think, I believe an inquiry will be able to look at many issues that haven't been looked at before. The inquiries that we've had so far, inquiries into the death of Dr. David Kelly, there was the Butler inquiry, which was into the intelligence on weapons of mass destruction, but narrowly drawn around that. This should be an inquiry that not only looks at the origins of the war, but draws the lessons from about how difficult it is to run a country that you take over in these circumstances. And some of the lessons are of direct use, I imagine they would be of direct use, in Afghanistan today, and that is part of the urgency of getting on with this now.
Mike Gapes, why are you running away from this?
No, I think there should be an inquiry, but the narrow focus on the immediate past is not what we need. What we need is a much wider inquiry, including the complicity of the Conservative government in the 1980s in arming Saddam.
All right, take it back as far as you like. Just get on with it.
Well, I think that we could agree on that in a parliamentary basis through committees, not by political opportunist stunts which are designed to take attention from the fact that the Conservative Party voted for the war in Iraq in 2003, but now seems to be trying to pretend that it didn't.
William Hague?
Well, look, this is political opportunism, Mike Gapes said. The case for an inquiry has been strongly put to the Prime Minister by the Fabian Society in the last few weeks, and it's been put in the debate today by Liberal Democrats, Conservatives, Nationalists, some members of the Labour Party. Are we asked to believe that all of these people have joined in together in some political opportunism to put this case forward? The fact that so many people across the political spectrum who were for, like me, the invasion of Iraq or against it, are demanding an inquiry does show that the case has become overwhelmingly strong. And
Okay.
it's not sufficient to accuse those promoting it of political opportunism.
But
They
the
are
nature
much
of your
stronger than that.
inquiry is an opportunist one. It is a limited time
Right.
scale.
Okay, thank you both very much indeed. Thanks.